Okay, today's the day. The day you decided that you are going to become your best self. You journaled. You took your hot girl walk. You went to the gym. You've decided to work on your finances because you want that dream car. You want that dream apartment. Oh my goodness. You started your glow up journey. You're trying to grow out your hair. You're trying to change up your makeup. You are trying to wear your best outfits and look like your best version of yourself. You are also trying to work on your confidence and your self-love and how you present yourself in front of other people. You are working on it all, okay? This is the first week too. Like, girl, you are killing it this first week, right? You're killing it. You're your best self. You went to the gym 5 times out this week, okay? You killed it. Now, fast forward 2 weeks later, you're 2 weeks into your becoming yourself journey, your glow up journey, your self-love journey, and you are down, okay? You are so down that you have stopped the journaling because you're like, why am I even doing this anymore? You do not want to go on the hot girl walks because you're like, what's the point of this? I can't change. I can't be my best self. Nothing has changed, you know? You are spiraling with your finances. You keep spending all this money. You're like, why am I spending all this money? Oh my God. You know, you're spiraling with the negative self-talk. You are looking in the mirror and you are speaking down to yourself. You're like, why am I even trying to be confident? Why am I even trying to love myself? I can't do this. It's pointless. And girl, you are in the bed. You are in the bed and you have decided that becoming your best self is not worth it because you're not worth it, because you can't do it, because your circumstances are showing you differently. They're showing you otherwise. Not only that, but you are clinging on to past mistakes, past trauma, past relationships, past things that have a hold over your life. How can you become your best self when all of these things are in the way? Okay, let's talk about it. Negative self-talk won't help you become your best self. That's where I wanted to get at with this topic, okay? And the reason I have this topic up here, we're going to talk about this really quickly before we get into the tips and the points. But the reason that I have negative self-talk won't won't help you become your best self is because these last few weeks, I have been the most negative thing in the world. I have found myself so negative, more negative than I have been in a long time. And you guys know, like, on this glow up self-love journey, I try to talk to myself positive, but sometimes things get in the way, right? And I have realized through these weeks that negative self-talk gets you nowhere, okay? And it's something I already knew, but I just had this like epiphany this week of, you know, negative self-talk and kind of like why we do it and what it does to us, right? And yeah, this one made me want to spark on this conversation of negative self-talk won't get you anywhere, right? Because it won't. It won't. But it also made me reflect on my self-love journey and my glow up journey and the how long certain things took and how quickly certain other things took, right? I've been on my self-love journey for 5 years, and I consider it a journey of like self-love, glowing up, becoming my best self, right? So it's all the journeys in one, right? And certain things that I have worked on, I got quickly, just like that, right? Certain things I have worked on, I have not gotten at all yet, okay? And certain things that I have worked on, it took a little bit longer, but I have gotten it, right? The things that were making me feel very negative, very sad, very upset were the things that were making me down were the things that I felt like should have happened by now. You know, why am I waiting so long? Why am I doing this? This is so pointless, right? Why am I even trying? Can I even do this? All of this negative self-talk coming up in my head. And I'm like, whoa, where is this coming from? Because baby, I'm positive over here. Okay. We are positive over here, but girl, it was coming out. And I was like, oh, whoa. And like I said, this led me to come up with this topic of when you decide to become your best self, you think that things are going to be quick. You think that things are going to be easy, not necessarily easy, but you don't think about the road ahead. You don't think about your past mistakes that you have to let go of. You don't think about your past traumas. You don't think about past relationships that you may have been in that's things that you have to kind of let go of, right? You don't think about your circumstances, and your circumstances kind of getting in the way of you like feeling like you can be your best self. Or you don't think about the way that you speak to yourself, or your mindset, or the way that you think about yourself. You don't think about that stuff when you decide to become your best self. When you decide to become your best self, you're like, you know what, I'm becoming my best self. You're excited. You hit the ground running. You're here. Like you're ready to go, right? But boy, do you get knocked down 10 toes. I mean, you get knocked down a couple of pegs after a couple of weeks, and you're like, wait a minute, I got a lot of stuff that I need to heal from. I got a lot of stuff that I need to let go of. I got a lot of stuff, right? And that's my point of this, is that becoming your best self is a journey, right? Becoming the best version of you is a journey, and you're not going to always be positive. You're not going to always be negative. Things aren't always going to happen swift. Things aren't always going to happen quickly, because there is a reason, right? And that's what I want to talk about. I feel like I'm rambling, right? So I want to specifically talk about, though, that negative self-talk won't get you anywhere, okay? If you continually badger yourself, if you continually tell yourself you can't do it, you're not going to do it. You're not going to get to the place that you want to get at, okay? And the reason I say this is because when I was sitting there like being all negative and everything, nothing was getting done. Nothing was getting done. I probably could have gotten to a goal of mine faster if I had not been so negative about the current circumstances that I was seeing, okay? And it brings me to my first point of things will remain the same if your mind remains the same, okay? When you embark on this new journey of becoming yourself, you can't expect yourself to change automatically, because you might have years and years of this negative self-talk that you have already been doing for years. You also have years and years of habits that you have already been doing for years now, right? But the thing is that we're going to talk about perfectionism in a minute, but things are not going to change if you don't change, right? If your mind doesn't change, if you don't consistently pull out your journal, if you don't consistently write down your thoughts and change them into a positive thought, if you don't consistently figure out where that thought is coming from and why you have that thought, is that thought from your childhood? Is that thought from somebody else who told it to you? Is that thought just coming from you? Like, why do you believe these things, right? If you don't crack down on your mind, if you don't figure out what your mind is like, why your mind is feeling some type of way, you are not going to move. Your circumstances will not change, okay? When I was sitting there feeling sad and feeling like kind of like deeply just negative, like kind of just putting myself down in my head. And let me tell you, this is not an easy thing to do. And you know, this is not an easy thing to do where you can just pull yourself out of being sad, and you can pull yourself out of just like stop talking negatively to you, because when you kind of get in that cycle, you're already there and you just continue doing it, right? So I get it. Trust me, I get it, right? But it led me to realize that when I was sitting there just reiterating all of the reasons on why I can't do this, why I can't do that, why my circumstances won't change, nothing was changing. I wasn't going to move because my mind didn't change, you know? My feelings about myself were popping up and telling me why I didn't believe certain things, right? And instead of like putting them down in the journal and working on them and trying to figure out why I felt the way I felt about the circumstances that have not changed yet, and why I felt so down about it, and why I felt like it was never going to happen, I was going to be stuck in that space, right? I'm going to be stuck in that space if I continually think these bad thoughts about me, these things that I can't do it, or I'm not enough, or I'm not this, I'm not that. If you continually to do that, your like reality is never going to change, because your thoughts create your actions, right? So in turn, when you're sitting there just thinking negatively, thinking upset, being like just putting yourself down, why do you expect to walk out and be that confident woman that you want to be? Why do you expect to get your dream apartment if you're telling yourself that you can't do it? Why do you expect to be your dream self, or you go to the gym if you're telling yourself, girl, your body look a mess? Why do you expect to get up and do the thing that you think you're going to do when you are knocking yourself down before you even try? You are knocking yourself down before you even had a go at it. Or you're on the journey right now, but you're knocking yourself down before you even see results. But just because you don't see results does not mean it's not working, okay? Somebody had told me that just because it is not working for you, it is actually working on you. And that is like the most iconic thing I've ever heard. I don't know. I love it. But it's the most iconic thing ever. And I actually got that from a YouTuber. I forgot his name. Oh my God. I'll link it right here. But he was saying how when things aren't working for you, they're actually working on you. And I could not agree more. But what I'm saying is, because the thoughts that you have are in your mind, right? You are going to manifest out what you think, okay? And that's going to be manifested out in your actions, okay? If you feel like you can't lose weight, or you don't have a nice body, like if you feel like your body is not worth it, right? If you feel negative about your body, you're not going to get up and go to the gym. You're just not, because you already have this negative self-talk about yourself. You already have this feeling that you're not good enough. So why would you get up and feel good enough? Why would you get up and go to the gym and work on your body and eat healthy? You already feel like you don't deserve it. You already feel like your body's not worth it, right? So you're not going to get up and do the thing that you want to do, right? Nothing changes if your mind doesn't change, okay? And this could be so hard, because sometimes you have been working so hard, you've been working so long, and nothing is changing, and your circumstances are not changing. But like I said, if it's not working for you, it is working on you. And that brings me to this point that I wrote down, because this is something I just learned and thought about yesterday. The things you are asking for, you're going to be tested. You are going to be tested on this journey of becoming your best self. And this goes back to, this is working on you, okay? If you want something in your life, best believe you are going to be tested. Your character is going to be tested. Your love for yourself is going to be tested. The love that you have or you give to people is going to be tested. Your gratitude for things is going to be tested. Are you grateful enough to receive the thing that you want? Okay. Your ethic is going to be tested. Your morals can be tested. Have you healed enough from your toxic relationship that you were in? Or have you healed enough from that friend that hurt your feelings? Or have you healed enough in general from your childhood or your past trauma or any of this stuff? All of that will be tested, okay? Are you clinging on to past mistakes, past hurt? Have you forgiven yourself? All of these things will be tested on the journey to becoming your best self. But look, you cannot fold. You cannot just throw in the towel when you are being tested. If you're asking for these things, best believe they're going to be tested. But you have to believe that when you are being tested, that this is all working in your favor, okay? It is building your character. It is making you into your dream woman. You are becoming your dream woman so much as that when you get that thing, you are going to be prepared for it. You're going to have it. You're not going to be able to, it's not going to come out of your hand. You know why? Because you've built that character, you've built that work ethic, you built that knowledge, you've let go and you've healed from things, and you healed from your trauma and your all of these things, okay? But you're going to be tested. There is a reason why your circumstance has not changed right now, okay? And this is why this is called a journey of becoming your best self, right? Because you're going to struggle. It's going to be uncomfortable. You're going to be knocked down a couple times. You're going to fail a couple times, okay? But when you are failing, when you have been knocked down a couple times, when you are uncomfortable, those are the moments where you say kind words to yourself. Those are the moments where you encourage yourself, where you love on yourself, when you give yourself the love that you need, because those are the moments where you need it the most, okay? But if you sit there and you badger yourself and you speak down on yourself and you create this negative self-talk, what are you really giving to yourself? First of all, what kind of self-love are you giving to yourself? Okay, because we are a self-love channel. But what are you really giving to yourself other than piling more and more on yourself? You're already going through it. You're already struggling. And now you're piling on negative self-talk. How do you expect to get out of that struggle? Instead, what we need to be doing, and I know, like I said, I know it can be hard, but when you are struggling, instead, we should be giving ourselves kindness. We should be like, you know what? This is all working in my favor right now, okay? And you know why it's working in your favor? You know why that struggle is working in your favor? Do you know why you being uncomfortable is working in your favor? Because it is building you into the woman you want to become. It is building your character. It is building your morals. It is building your values. It is building you into actually like being strong enough to achieve the thing that you want to achieve, okay? You are going to struggle. You are going to be uncomfortable. You're going to fail a couple times before you get that thing that you want, okay? Whether it's building your confidence up or getting the dream house, apartment, whatever. You're going to struggle a couple times. It can be hard, especially when you're like, okay, I'm going to be all positive today. I'm going to be excited today. You're positive, right? And then something else goes wrong and you're like, what? I was positive today, right? That's happened to me before, okay? And I was like, girl, I believe in God. So I was like, God, why? Like, why? But I have to realize, first of all, we need to stop overthinking and getting into this negative mindset. When the bad things happen, you get into this negative mindset of course this happened to me, or of course I'm not good enough, or of course I'm not going to get the thing that I want because it just keeps happening to me. And I've been positive this whole time. Why is it happening to me? But maybe it's not happening to you. Maybe it's happening for you. Maybe it's trying to help you get to the place that you need to be. Okay, maybe it's teaching you a lesson so that now that you learn that lesson, you can apply it to whatever you're looking for whatever you're trying to get. Whatever you need for that, you're the best version of yourself, right? There are certain things that you and I are going to have to go through in order to become the best version of ourselves. But does that mean that because we are struggling, because our circumstances are showing us something differently, that it's not going to happen? No, it don't mean that. Okay, it doesn't mean that. What it means is that it's working for you and everything is coming and working in God's timing, or the universe timing, or whoever's timing, you know. But no, it is working in your favor. Okay, there is a reason why you do not have the thing yet, so you have to practice immense amount of gratitude. Okay, you have to practice gratitude, and we're going to get into the tips on what to do when you are getting into this negative self-talk. But my next point, when trying to become your best self, right? Whew, this might be a long video because I think it's already 21 minutes. My next point. Do you want to be happy? I don't know if this point is going to make sense, but I'm going to make it make sense, okay? I have been asking myself, when I got into this negative self-talk, this negative bubble, right? I had to ask myself, do I want to be happy? And I mean in this moment, okay? Because sometimes when we try to become our best selves, we think that in this moment, because in this moment I'm unhappy, I have to change everything about me, right? And because you're trying to change everything about yourself, you become unhappy in this moment, okay? And you feel like in the next moment, in the future, you are going to be happy, right? You're going to be happy when you get that dream car. You're going to be happy when you get that dream apartment. You're going to be happy when you have your dream looks, or your dream outfit, or your dream hairstyle, or whatever you're trying to get, right? You feel like you're going to be happy in that moment. But what about now? Do you want to be happy now? Okay. And this relates to negative self-talk, because when you get into this negative self-talk because you don't have the thing that you want, or you're not your best self yet, right? Honestly, ask yourself, do you want to be happy? Because if you want to be happy, you would work on that mindset. You would work on being positive about the circumstance now. You would work on having gratitude of your things that you have now, of the things that are happening in your life now, no matter what the circumstances are. And I know it's easier said than done, because it can be hard when you're looking at your circumstance and you want to change. Trust me, I've been there. I'm still here. I'm like, I want to change. I want this to change. No, it can be hard. It can be hard. But the question I have to ask is, do you want to be happy? Because if you don't want to be happy in this moment, then you're going to be unhappy, right? Because you're going to be badgering yourself, knocking yourself down, having all this negative self-talk, right? And we already talked about it before, but you're not going to get to where you need to be because you already have that negative self-talk. But are you going to be happy in this moment? No, you're not. Okay. With all that negative self-talk, you're not going to be happy, okay? Because you are knocking yourself down. You are knocking yourself down. How about we work on our gratitude? How about we work on our self-love? How about we tell ourselves that we can do it so that we can be happy in this moment? And if we're happy in this moment, we can be happy in the future moments. And if we're happy in this moment, then we can be happy to work on the things that we want in our future. But we can't be unhappy while working on the thing that we want. You know why? Because that unhappiness, you're going to hate everything that you're doing, okay? Say that you want to be a YouTuber and you're unhappy with the job that you currently have, right? And you're just unhappy, right? So throughout the process of filming, you're mad the whole time, you're upset, your audience can feel your energy. Do you think that is going to allow yourself to get out of your circumstance? Do you think that is going to allow you to attract new audiences and new subscribers? No, they're going to be like, this girl is so unhappy. I could tell her energy is off. I could tell she doesn't like what she's doing. No. You're not going to change, okay? Maybe you're at a job that you don't like, but you don't have any gratitude for it. You're not happy when you get to that job. You're not happy that you have that job, okay? And I know, because sometimes we're at jobs that we don't like and we're unhappy, okay? I understand. But if you have this feeling of, I'm not going to go into this job with gratitude or being happy about me just existing in the world, right? I'm going to go into this place unhappy. It's going to be very hard for you to want to bring yourself out of that circumstance. It's going to be very hard for you to get out of that circumstance. It's going to be very hard for you to go into work every day believing that you can do something, like you can do it, and you're going to have a hard time in this moment, because in this moment, your circumstances have not changed yet, and yes, that sucks, but do you want to be happy in this moment? Because I think I want to be happy. Okay. I want to be happy. And that's something that I had to realize is I want to be happy in this moment. I cannot spend all of these moments unhappy just because I'm not where I want my future self to be, because when I get to that future self, I'm going to look back and be like, dang, I didn't live. I didn't enjoy anything from that time period of my life. And you know what's going to happen? I'm going to miss it terribly. Because for some reason we don't know what we have until we don't have it anymore, right? There are certain things right now that we can be happy about. There are certain things right now that we should have gratitude about. I understand when your circumstances, you want it to change, and sometimes it just feels like it's not changing, okay? It feels like it's not working. It feels like you're not your best self. You feel really down. I understand that, and I will not discredit that because I understand. But there are certain times that I have rushed, and I look back and be like, dang, I wish I didn't rush that time. I should have been a little bit more happy because I was in a good, there were certain things that were good about that time, So what am I saying is that Negative self-talk does not allow you to be happy. And if you want to be happy in this moment while becoming the best version of yourself, you have to speak to yourself positive. You have to love yourself. You have to be happy in this moment in order to be happy in the future. Okay. Allowing yourself to be happy is also allowing yourself to let go. And it's also allowing yourself to be messy on the way to becoming the best version of yourself. Let me explain, okay? To becoming the best version of yourself, it's going to get messy sometimes. You're going to be inconsistent. You're going to fail a couple times. You're going to get back up. You're going to succeed. You're going to do it all over again. You're going to go in a circle. It's going to feel like you're always going in circles. It's going to feel like the thing is not working, okay? In order to be happy, you have to allow yourself to be messy. You have to allow yourself to fall off of your goals and be like, you know what? It's okay. I'm going to get back on it tomorrow. Okay. This is how you build positive self-talk. This is how you build positive affirmations for yourself. You don't build it by falling off of something and then being like, you know what? I knew I wasn't going to make it. I knew I wasn't going to be consistent. I knew I'm a loser. I knew this. No, you don't make it like that. Okay. You have to allow yourself to be messy. And with allowing yourself to be messy, you allow yourself to be happy in that moment. You allow yourself to stop speaking negatively about yourself, right? Because when you are messy, when things are inconsistent, when things aren't like working, when you aren't being the best, quote unquote, best version of yourself in that moment, right? That negative self-talk is not going to help you become your best self. It's not going to help you be happy. That's how you become happy. You allow yourself to not be perfect, right? You allow yourself to be messy. And then you have to give yourself permission to be happy. And this is going to require you to let go of shame, guilt, past trauma, past things that you are clinging on to, okay? And on this, like I said in the beginning, on this journey to becoming your best self, there are things that you are holding onto dear life with. Like you can't forgive yourself for that mistake that you made. And believe me, that's hard. I know. I know. But because you are clinging onto it, because you're not giving yourself permission, like to let go of it, you're giving yourself permission to be unhappy, and you want to give yourself permission to be happy, okay? And when you give yourself permission to be happy, that's how you become your best self. When you tell yourself, you know what, it's okay that you made the mistake, I'm gonna hold you accountable, but I'm also gonna love you at the same time. You allow yourself to come out of that state of mind. You allow yourself to come out of that negative self-talk, and you allow yourself to become the best version of you. But you can't become the best version of you when you are clinging onto something that you should have let go of, that you need to let go of, okay? Something that you need to heal from, okay? When you heal from something, you release it and you allow yourself to be peaceful, you allow yourself to be happy, and then you allow yourself to become the best version of yourself, because the best version of you is healed, it's loved, it's peaceful, right? And in order for you to become the best version of yourself, you have to work on that mindset. You have to work on healing. You have to work on your thoughts, okay? And all of that is just giving yourself permission to be happy. It's getting a therapist. It's letting go of your past trauma. It's putting it in the journal and digging up the root and trying to figure things out and trying to heal from your childhood. All of these things, that is how you become the best version of yourself. You allow yourself to be happy. You cannot allow past things to control you, to cling on to you, past things you used to say to yourself, past things people used to say to you, to control who you are about to become. You are about to become the best version of you, and you need to speak to yourself like you are the best version of you. But that negative self-talk or clinging on to things that people have told you, said to you, did to you, is not going to help you become the best version of you. Okay, so we have to work on that healing. The next point I have learned on this becoming your best self journey when it comes to negative self-talk is, do you think you're perfect? Are you perfect? Are you supposed to be perfect? Okay, when I embarked on this becoming my best self thing, I thought I had to be perfect. I thought I couldn't make any more mistakes. I thought that because I was learning things and because I was putting in action that I couldn't falter, that I shouldn't falter because I knew more knowledge than anything. Like I was reading everything. I was watching a bunch of YouTube videos. I was doing everything, right? But I was clinging on to this thing of this idea that I had to be perfect, that I had to know everything in order to become the best version of myself. And I think when you think that you have to be perfect, that is when that negative self-talk does come in, because you are going to falter. You are going to make mistakes. You are going to fail a couple times before you succeed, right? And that negative self-talk, that's when that's when it creeps in, right? And that's a problem. You are expecting yourself to be perfect on this journey, and you're not going to be perfect, okay? You're not going to be perfect. Things are going to happen. But does that mean that you speak to yourself unkind? Does that mean that you talk to yourself in a way that isn't pleasant? Like, no, that doesn't mean that, you know? That, like I said, that is the time where that self-love is supposed to, like, that's when it's really supposed to work. That's when it's really supposed to come out. You aren't a robot. You aren't perfect. You know, we all aren't perfect, right? So when you're becoming your best self, why do you expect everything to just go perfect, be perfect, when you have to learn all these lessons? When you have to embark on this journey, it's a journey. Why would the journey be perfect? If the journey was perfect, how could you look back and be like, dang, I did that? Or wow, I got through that. Oh wow, I have immense gratitude for this thing because it took me so long to get it. I have immense gratitude for it. So I'm not going to take advantage of it. I'm not going to lose it because I have immense gratitude for this thing, right? But if you expect the journey to be perfect and you to be perfect, it's going to be very hard for you to become the best version of you. Because you aren't allowing yourself to be messy, like I said. You gotta allow yourself to be a little mess. And we can use this like quick example, right? If you don't have your dream body right now, why do you expect things to go perfect with going to the gym? Why do you expect you to go to the gym already 5 times a week and work yourself to death when you haven't built up that habit yet, or you haven't built up that whatever you're trying to build, right? You can't expect yourself to be perfect. And in you not being perfect, you're sitting there criticizing your body or criticizing your habits. But why did you expect yourself to be perfect? And I think when you allow yourself to not be perfect and you realize that you're not perfect, you can become the best version of you, because then you realize, oh, I don't got to be perfect. I just got to work on what I want to get to. And once I keep working on it and I give myself positive self-talk, oh, I'm going to get to a point where I'm building up my habits, where I'm actually going to the gym 5 times a week, where I'm actually waking up really early and putting in that work. But when you first start out, it doesn't become perfect. It's not even perfect when you build that habit because you're human. It's not going to be perfect. And my next point is, if it exists, why can't it be you? Why can't you have the dream body? Why can't you have the dream car? Why can't you have the dream apartment? Why can't you have your dream looks or your dream confidence or the love that you have? Why can't you have a positive self-talk, right? If it exists, why can't it be you? If it's happened to other people and you've seen it happen to other people, what makes them different than you are? You know, nobody is you and that's your power, but still, if it exists, it can be you. And you have to realize that if it exists, it can be you. I don't know what else to say for that point, but it is true. It exists. So that means that you can hold it in your hand. It may not be in your hand right now. You may not have it right now, but you have to know, if the thing exists, there has to be a way to get to it. There has to be a way. There has to be steps that you have to create. There has to be things that you have to do in order to get there. There has to be a certain character that you have to build to get there. There has to be a certain stamina you have to get there. Like, there has to be different things, different ways and different things to get there, right? That means you have to go on a journey to get to that point. But that also means that thing that you want exists and it can happen. But just know that on that journey to getting what you want, there is going to be some character that needs to be built. It's going to be a journey. Okay. And my next thing that I want to talk about, lastly, is a couple of quick tips to help you and your negative self-talk and just becoming the best version of yourself, because it is going to pop up, but it's how you deal with it that matters. Okay. So number one is to acknowledge that thought. Don't let it simmer. Don't let it go on for days where you're feeling down and you're feeling sad. Write it down. And I know sometimes when you're feeling sad, you just have to sit in it. And I believe that. Like, I believe so hard on like sitting in your feelings and letting yourself feel, because when you let yourself feel, that is how you heal from it, right? But also, instead of just ignoring your feelings, instead of just disregarding it, acknowledge that the feeling is there. And when you acknowledge it, write it down. Write out where it's coming from. And you may cry. You may be angry. You may be upset. And it's not going to change. The thought is not necessarily going to change overnight. However, the fact that you acknowledged it is a big step in changing your future. It's a big step in changing your present moment also, because this is going to allow you to build positive self-talk. But you can't build positive self-talk if you don't acknowledge how you feel and why you feel it. Don't just sit there and allow yourself to just deeply think bad about yourself, because trust me, you'll go down a big spiral. Okay. Next thing that I have is to keep picturing the woman that you want to be. Keep picturing the thing in your mind. And I've talked about this a little bit before, but I love to visualize. I love to meditate, close my eyes, and just picture my dream self, my dream apartment, my dream house, my dream everything. Like, I don't know. I'm just listing stuff, but like, no, I like to visualize my dream self, what I'm wearing, what I look like, what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis, my habits. This helps so much because I just can picture it in my mind, and it just works. I don't know. Keep that at your forefront and just keep thinking about her, and you will become her. Okay. And the last thing I have to say is that try your hardest to be consistent. Okay. With consistency comes the results that you want. Okay. But when you're being consistent and nothing is working, know that it is still working. Okay. It's working on you. Maybe the circumstances have not changed yet, but they will. Okay. My camera is about to die. I was talking for a long time. Oh my gosh. But I hope you guys enjoy this video. I hope it made sense. I know it made sense. It has to, right? Because it came from my head. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Bye.